Summary of Washington Square by Henry James. Dr. Austin Sloper, a widower who is socially prominent, a guy who is bright, and a talented physician, thrives in New York City during the 1840s. A few years ago, Dr. Sloper lost his beloved wife, Catherine Harrington Sloper, and a young son. Now he is left with his plain, humble, and obedient daughter, Catherine Sloper. Lavinia Penniman, his silly and loving sister, also lives with them. Catherine meets Morris Townsend at her cousin Marion's engagement party when she is 21 years old. The way Morris talks makes her think he is the most handsome man she has ever seen. Not long after, Morris starts to court Catherine. Dr. Sloper finds out that Morris, who is about 30 years old, wasted a small fortune during his time abroad and is now living with his widowed sister. He asks Morris to dinner, but right away thinks that Morris is not a gentleman and can't be Catherine's suitor. He also thinks Morris is acting mercenarily and is only interested in Catherine's fortune, not Catherine herself. Morris and Catherine get engaged, which makes Dr. Sloper unhappy, even though he treats Catherine gently at first. When Morris comes back the next day, Dr. Sloper tells him that he hates the idea of him as a son-in-law because he doesn't have enough money or opportunities. Catherine keeps writing to Morris even though her father doesn't like it, and she even tries to talk to Dr. Sloper about Morris's character, but he won't change his mind and is even amused by Catherine's forced independence. For a year, Dr. Sloper takes Catherine to Europe to keep her mind off of Morris. While they are away, Aunt Penniman treats Morris like a real son and takes care of him at the Sloper house. During a walk in the Alps about halfway through the European trip, Dr. Sloper confronts Catherine in a cold way for not ending things with Morris. Kate stands her ground in the bravest moment of her life so far. She no longer has the same deep respect and love for her father as she did before. When Catherine goes back to Washington Square, everyone sees how much more confident she is. Except Morris, who breaks off the engagement because Dr. Sloper is being so stubborn. Catherine is heartbroken when she finally sees through Morris. She is also angry at Aunt Penniman for getting in the way of their relationship the whole time. Catherine has other chances to get married as she gets older, but she chooses to stay an old maid and help younger women by being their confidant. For some reason, Dr. Sloper never believes that she and Morris won't get married soon, so he cuts her fortune in his will before he dies. Aunt Penniman sets up one last meeting between Catherine and Morris, who is much older now. Catherine forgives Morris, but she refuses to be friends with the guy who hurt her so badly. She goes back to living her happy single life in Washington Square.
About the author. James was born on April 15, 1843, at 21 Washington Place in New York City. The James family took many trips in Europe, especially France, when Henry was a child. The French author Honoré de Balzac was his biggest literary inspiration. In the 1860s, he started writing reviews and short stories that came out in serial form in magazines like The Nation and Atlantic Monthly. By the 1870s, he spent almost all of his time in Europe, where he became known in the most prestigious literary groups around the world. He moved to London and wrote his most famous works there, including Daisy Miller, 1878, and The Portrait of a Lady, 1881. Later in his work, he wrote in the style of French naturalist writers such as Émile Zola and Alphonse Daudet. However, his willingness to try new things made his books less popular and profitable. A lot of James's stories are about characters and ideals from the New World, America, and the Old World, England or other parts of Europe. He explored his characters' psyches deeply. The year before he died, Henry James became a British subject. For his cultural achievements, King George V gave him the Order of Merit.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.